All right, so by my recording the class, that means if you aren't here, you can watch it. But more importantly, while you're here, I've always found that, when you do statistics courses, there's always something that somebody says or the professor says that you're trying to write down, and then we move forward. This helps you go back to it as well. So this is going to be online once we're done. I'll show you the website in just a bit. So this is structural equation modeling. Again, I'm Jonathan Templin. Please don't call me Dr. Templin, even though I have a PhD. You can call me Jonathan, JT. You could use a four-letter word if you prefer. I don't care, but the doctor thing, it really bothers me. So, forget that. If you have to call me doctor, you just have to. Just call me Associate Professor Templin. That's the full title, all right? I'm handing out copies of the syllabus, and I'm going to hand out copies of the first day's slides because This is going to be the only time I give you this information. Hard copy. Everything's going to be online. Everything is online right now, but everything will in the future be online. That'll be the only copy that you'll have. Everything else. Let's see here. One chair up in the front. And let's see. So, first things first, this is the course in structural equation modeling, as you probably know. This is meant to be a 900 level graduate course, so it means it's probably going to be, it's going to be somewhat intense, in a good way, right? You're going to learn a lot of stuff, but the problem is it's going to take a lot of effort on your part to get things done. So it requires a commitment on your part to work. Oh, thank you. Thank you. To get things done. I say this up front, not to scare you, but more just to let you know what you're getting into if you want to be here. The other thing I wanted to note was it's come to my attention that in our course catalog, this course is listed as having prerequisites of PRE 710, which is our Introduction to Statistics course. Really what you should have before you start this course is regression, which would be 810. So if you haven't had regression, you might be at a serious disadvantage to start because everything in structural equation model begins with a regression line. If you have, that's all I am asking. That's great. But if you haven't, you're welcome to sit through class or sit through the first part of the lecture and reevaluate where you're at. That's all I have for that. This is, again, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'd like to get to know you a little bit. And then we'll go through the syllabus and all the fun things about class. And then I actually have a lecture to begin with. Isn't that crazy? It's intense, right? So I'm bound and determined to teach you as well as I can and as much as I can. So this is your only course in structural equation modeling. But it's a big area. So again, I'm Templin. My degree, let me back up. I work here. This is my start of my third semester back at Kansas. I started my career over in the psych department. I can see my office in Fraser, a window from here, back in 2005, but then moved away to University of Georgia and University of Nebraska, and I've come back, and I'm happy to be back in Lawrence and hope to stay, never move. The president's going to be here and everything. This is a place to be. But my degree is in quantitative psychology with a master's in statistics, and I look at structural equation modeling from a different lens than a lot of people in the SEM world. I look at it as more of an extension of statistics, an applied statistics course. And so a lot of people talk about psychometrics and so forth, and yes, I'm very proud to be a psychometrician. I try to teach this course with an emphasis on the statistical side of it. So to do so requires several weeks of background and so forth. So that's who I am. My research areas are in psychometric methods, very similar to what we're going to be learning in this class, although used typically for diagnosing people. In terms of research, I currently serve as associate professor, editor of Psychometrica and applied psychological measurement, and do a lot of editorial work. Anyway, point being, I'm trying to tell you I could teach this class. I hope you get that. I don't know, maybe just the slides or everything else will teach you that, but there's my credentials. But let's, I know this is the part that you all hate, but can I get to know you just a little bit? And by a little bit, I'm going to go around, ask your name, your program, and why you're taking the class. Cool? Just three things, all right? So I'm going to start in the fourth corner with Hong Ling.
Calling ranks for insurance. One. I took in one before in the rank in EPSY.
Mhm.
I'm not sure whether I put in what I need, so I'm already at the end.
Excellent. Well, I'm happy to have it. Thank you for coming.
My name's Megan, and I'm Jonathan's student, so that's why I'm here.
Coercion.
I'm a Ramsey.
Thank you, Megan.
I'm Alan. I'm a REM student as well, and I'm taking it because it sounded fun from the email.
Even better. All right, I like that. Yes, sir. Thanks, Alan.
I'm Fahad Al-Harbi. I'm the first time developing my third year in the Defense. I came this class to improve my knowledge in historical.
Fahad, thank you, Fahad. I'm going to go behind Fahad.
I'm Jen, second year in the clinical trials program. I'm taking this class because I'm going to the quant minor and also because I took some research and
The quant minor in clinical child, or is it in psych? Okay. The reason why I asked that is I've had so my wife works over in the Lifespan Institute, and having worked previously in psych, you might want to double check class counts
I
for
can
it.
take one outside.
Okay, perfect. I just don't want you to have to do all the work in this course and have it found out. Oh yeah, that didn't count. So, thank you, Jen. I appreciate it.
I'm Bridget. I'm a second year, also in the clinical trial type program, and I'm taking it to prepare myself for FDA.
Thank you, Bridget.
I'm Matt. I'm a second year master student council and psych program, and I'm taking this because I took regression last semester and I enjoyed it, so I figured I'd go a little more in depth.
And this will take progression and make it more in depth for you. Hopefully, if I do my job for it. Thanks, Matt.
I'm Kevin. I'm also in the second year of the counseling psychometrics program. I've got my last semester in grad school, so I'm planning on learning as much psych stuff.
All right. Well, and Kevin is also very good at helping rearrange the room, so thank you for your help with that as well. Thanks, Kevin. In the back corner.
I'm Jonathan, second student in the Christmas. I think this class because I want to know what
And it's going to be Kwang Chin. Thank you, Kwang Chin. Well, hope you'll learn that.
My name's Fiona. I'm a second
Thank you, Lou. Hi, Douglas.
I'm Douglas. I'm fourth year student. I'm hoping for CC mathematics. I took the same one. I think two classes before, but not so good for
Oh, thanks, Rob. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the thing. Anybody who's here to audit, you're welcome. The bigger problem, as you can see, is room size. If we somehow run out of chairs, we could try to steal one or two. But if not, because of the lectures being online, you're also welcome to follow along online. So thank you, Douglas. Yes, sir. Cool. Fred, right? Hey, that's awesome. I like to have different types of fields show up here. That's cool. I for whatever reason, I'm drawn toward that field a little bit. If I wasn't here, maybe I'd be there. Thank you, Fred. Let's go to Haisha. Well, there'll be lots of latent variables. Thanks, Aisha.
Jennifer Russo, I'm also a first year medicine, and I'm in this class because my Saturday night was just history, so I'm going right on up.
Saturday night SEM. I like that. That's good. I don't know that I would engage, but that sounds good. If that's what your thing is, that's awesome. Jake.
My name is Jake Thompson. I'm also a first year REM student, and I'm here to
Thanks, Jake. And was your undergraduate degree over in psych? Was that correct? So have you had SEM previous to this? Or?
I was going to take it from Todd, but he left.
He left. Of course, that always happens, right? Well, I'm glad to have you, Jake. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. Just to find out. That's awesome. I don't know who's spreading these rumors, but I'll put an end to it. Thanks, Jan.
I'm Steve Obenhouse.
Hi, Steve.
I'm AKP Policy Studies, and taking this
because I like statistics classes better than all the reading materials.
Well, that's good. There is reading here, but hopefully it's more contained.
It's not like a.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Read books and then
Yeah, no, I've tried to actually curtail how much reading there is in this
I
class.
look at reading, they're not.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. Nice to see you, Steve.
I'm Devane. I'm a first-year REM student, and from Young, I heard you were awesome, and also my advisor told me so.
Yeah, that's how it goes in our REMS program. Thanks, Devane.
And then to the PhD student from Dan, this is my first class with you, and
Yes.
even the last two were tough, but I enjoyed it.
Well, I hope they're tough. I hope this one's better than the last two, and I hope that hope that you're able to learn from it. So thank you, Dan.
My name is Lily Wong.
Hi, Lou.
I'm the part of the business administration, second year student, PhD student. I chose this class because I can learn and my big plan is about
That's great. Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
I'm Radia. I'm second year Dutch student from dance program. I took three of the club stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that.
All right. Well, good to have you. Rabia, was it?
Radia.
Yeah, thank you, Rabia. That's right. There's a handful of you who've been in each of the classes I've taught since coming back to KU, and I feel sorry for you, but hopefully it's good to see you again. Thank you, Aisha.
I'm Julie, and I'm a therapeutic science doctoral student.
Cool.
And it's through the KU Med Summit.
Mhm.
So it's a disability study program with an emphasis on individual rather than on the diagnosis. And I'm a qualitative person.
Very cool.
But I took progression last semester. Vicky thought I liked this, and my advisor thought it'd be good for me. And I'm excited.
That's the dangerous combo.
Yeah.
I will say I love qualitative research. I think having all types of inquiry is important. So even though this is decidedly a quantitative research topic, there are opportunities where you can take qualitative emphases to parts of studies that are part of it.
Progression might have turned me over. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
But, it was exciting.
That's good to hear. I'm glad to hear it. Julie was it? Yes, thank you, Julie. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it. If you saw me writing, it was trying to get your names down. I know a number of you, but not enough, and I'm terrible with names. So I have it down here, and this is the time where I say next week, sit in a different seat and see if I can keep up. It will take me a while to learn your name. Please don't take it personally. Okay, so I have my list of things to discuss. It's very scattered, but let's start with the syllabus, shall we? At the top, you'll see my information. One thing that you'll note is office hours have not yet been decided when they'll be yet, mainly because I want to pick a time that most of you can go to. I also have to be able to go to them. So in terms of my schedule, my Monday and Tuesday afternoons are probably the best. And the reason why I'm picking that is because homework is due on Wednesdays, or something is due on Wednesdays. And so giving you a chance to, I hope you'll work on things before you get to office hours, but having a chance to talk to me and so forth. And if we have a big enough group of people, I'd be happy to reserve a room somewhere, and you can bring your laptop with you, and perhaps we could work on R or other things that are bothering you with homework. Hopefully not too much bothering, but just, the typical things that you'll need. So what I'm going to do is send you all an email over, an email, and I'm going to send you a survey link, a doodle poll, to see what your availability is on Monday and Tuesday afternoons. If it's what I'm guessing it'll be split 50-50, and at that point I'll try to have an hour and a half on each day, maybe try to get you some availability. But otherwise, we'll try to get all 3 hours. I'll have 3 hours of office hours included. So we'll try to make it work. I strongly encourage you to come to office hours. I really am nice. My friends tell me I'm nice. It's one of those things where if you have to refer to these unnamed sources called your friends, it's bad. All right. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, right? They also tell me I'm really funny too. So I would encourage you to get there. I'm going to try to make it so that you can. Inevitably, you won't be able to one week or another, and then maybe even me too. So you can contact me over email. You have my office phone number there. The other thing you can do is find me on Google Hangouts. If you have that, my email address is johntemplin@gmail.com. Let me see if I can get this for us here. Let's get started. Oh no. I decided this year I would have come up with a brand new cancel. Forget it. Here. John Templin. JONTEMPLIN. Let me see if I can draw it on here. @gmail.com. JON Templin@gmail.com is what it is. Well, forget it. Okay. So you can find me on there. You can find me on there at any point. You can talk to me or find me, or if you have questions, just don't hesitate to ask. If you see my name and the green dot by it, just poke your head on and say hello. Let's see. So as I go along, also please do not hesitate to ask if you have any questions. I invariably, again, I'm pretty forgetful, as Megan will tell you. Pretty terrible, actually. My friends tell me that too, and I will forget some of the stuff that I'm supposed to say. So if something's unclear, just tell me. But one of the things I wanted to point you to is our course website. If you go to there's a shortened link on the syllabus itself, but if you just Google my name, Jonathan Templin, you'll find my webpage. Don't look at the images and my receding hairline. That would be very bad. And you'll have my course. The course website link is under the current courses, just down a little bit. And everything that we're going to do in course is on here. So I don't prefer Blackboard or whatever the heck this campus uses. And so I find this easier to handle. It's easier to update and so forth. So this, you'll see I've actually prepped all the way up to March 4th, which is really scary for me. Details on that in just a moment why. But within each week you can click on the link over here. So this is the first week, and it will take you to a course page. It's posted here, and you'll see our slides. And if we have example data or R syntax or the analysis itself, you'll find it all there. I try to make it. This is also where you'll find our lecture videos once class is over, and once this little Surface thing can actually build the videos. They'll be up online usually by the next day. And then if you have assignments due coming up, then I try to put them up there for your next week for how we do things. But well, more on that in just a moment. Course website, pretty self-explanatory. So, in just a moment, the course overview. This class is about SEM. What SEM is, what we do it, why we use it, how it works. All that's coming up in just a bit. So I'll leave that for right now. My goal is to get you to learn SEM more, and there's, as you probably know, SEM is a fairly popular technique, quantitative methods technique, and there's a ton of books out on there. There's a ton of slides out on the internet, and there's 4 or 5 different ways to teach a course on it. I teach it from essentially starting with regression, so we'll have a linear regression equation, and then we'll start building on top of that. Other people teach it from more of a diagram-based approach where you'll have circles and squares and triangles and so forth, and you'll see those in here too, but my focus is based on the equation, and my philosophy for that is I want to give you the chance to keep going once you get past here. I feel like this is the way that I've found that works the best, so you have a solid base to get to do SEM and to read SEM research, but that you can expand upon that if you need to. Other types of teaching it with primarily on pictures and so forth tend to put a ceiling on where you go, or kind of framing it in a way. So it's all about framing it in a way that's the most flexible for how we teach statistics and how we talk about statistics overall. The bigger picture is that every week there's going to be something due in class, and you'll see that in just a bit. You'll see it on the website also. And so I would expect that you spend about 9 to 12 hours outside of class on this. Hopefully not all on Saturday night like Jennifer, but maybe, it could happen. Maybe, if you find a favorite pub downtown to go to, like the Red Lion, you could work on it there. It's good stuff. So it takes a little bit of effort to do so. The reason for that, I try to motivate why I do everything, and if I don't, properly enough for you, ask me why. There is a reason for between all this, and I'd like to try to share that with you. My thought is this: it's great. You can sit in class, and I know that I'm not that clear, but even if I was crystal clear, or you can understand it all, there's a transfer mechanism you have to do. Right? It's something about playing with numbers or data or so forth in the computer that sort of forms a mental representation of the concepts in class. And so what the class is structured to do is to essentially give a lecture and have a homework that follows along with a lecture or a pair of lectures to essentially reinforce the topics in there. Homeworks are due every other week. Get to that in just a bit. We also have actually, let me back up. So, what are we doing numbers in the second page here? We're using R. I sent this warning email to you last semester, some of you who enrolled by the end of the last semester, about it. It was mainly because R does have a little bit of a shock to it when you use it. Right? It's kind of like, oh my goodness, what is this? I can't minimize that for you, but what I can tell you is with a little bit of, I'm hoping you just gain a little proficiency in R. Right? I'm not asking you to learn R from front to back. I don't know it from front to back. It's more just how do you get data in, and how do we use one or two packages to do SEM. The reason why I pick R is because there is a package that came out just about 2 years ago that mirrors almost exactly one of the more popular structural equation modeling packages called M+. And so if you look on my website, you'll see slides from when I taught this course before, and it was M+. And in M+, well, M+ is its own messy syntax-based program that you have to go through to understand. And then on top of that, M+ costs, if you're faculty, it costs $900 or $1,000 for a license. If you're a student, it's $350 for the right license to get for this class. And so R is free, and so sometimes you probably could say you get what you pay for. But in this case, I don't think that M+ is worth $350 to use, and so R gives us a chance to do that. As you can tell, I don't think you're going to have to spend any money to succeed in this class on books or on R or on anything else. You can buy some of the books if you like the chapters, you can whatever, but everything is built for you to be, so you don't have to. So R is why I picked that. So today we'll briefly touch on R. We'll touch on R each week, but mainly the whole goal is there's two parts that I use in R. R is a statistical program, much like SPSS is, but R is free. So you can go to this website that's on the syllabus here, which is rproject.org, and download R. And then you install it. And then there's if you were just to open R, you'd see literally just, here, let me see if I can find it. R. Come on, Windows. Well, looks like I'll be showing you how to download and install. Nope, there it is. Maybe? Found it? R Studio. Oh wait, there's R. Here we go. Right here. So you can open R, and this is all you get. Right? And if you're like me and you're used to SPSS, you're like, what? What am I going to do now? Why am I going to go and deal with the caret and a flashing thing that looks like it's from 1974? Right? I get it. R Studio takes this and makes it a little bit more flexible and easier to use. Visualization of data is part of that, but it's also free. So if you download R Studio, it works with R to build in all the parts that you'll have. So on the left here, you'll have a console window that will have where you could type commands, but you will also be able to see your data, which is also nice. And what we'll do in class is we'll have syntax, and if you were to open syntax in R, it will show you this real quick here. It will show up like this right here. There we go. So it even paints colors to it and everything else. And so what I try to do with the syntax is for each homework assignment, I will give you a syntax starter file. So if you can open R Studio and run a few lines of syntax, it will get your data in, right? You have to change one line, which is where the data exists on your computer. The other nice thing about R and R Studio is if you use a Mac, if you use Windows, if you use Linux, it works on all three. M+, in theory, works on each of those as well, but the Windows version is significantly different from the Mac and the Linux version. So, and actually, the way that they get around that difference is to say, oh, go use R for the rest. So you're back into R anyway, right? So that's the biggest frustration. But if you'll bear with me in R, and again, I'm not going to be testing you on R, I'm not going to be quizzing with you on R. I would like you to just learn how to open it up and run some syntax I give you. When we get to the part that says with code that I'll need you to manipulate, there'll be sections that will be highlighted. Like it'll look like something like what I just have on the screen here, which you can't even see. Let me zoom in a little bit. No, never mind that. There we go. Something like this right here. This syntax right there. And what we'll get into each week is what does that mean? How does that work? So each lecture's slides have some type of example with R. So I put my syntax up there, and again, it should be the case that the syntax is self-sufficient. If you download with the exception of the data, if you download the lecture data and you change download the lecture syntax, and you just change this first line right up top here to where the data exists, you can highlight all this and run it, and it will give you all the results that you have in lecture as well. So if you are new to syntax and everything else, the reason for syntax, the reason why we do that is so I can distribute a file like that to you, right? Or if you're used to SPSS and a graphical menu, it's very nice, but if you go into a really complicated analysis, you have to, and you clicked on certain things, if you want to replicate that later on, say, your advisor says, hey, that's great, but not quite, what did you do the last time? This gives you a place to go back to. So I can tell you when I was in grad school and I first got there, I was not used to any syntax language, and that was a shock. If this is your first time with it, it is going to be a shock, but I think we can get through it. So. Okay, questions on R? RStudio? Cool, we'll get back to that just a little bit more. Timeout for one thing, it's a 3-hour class, which sucks. So I'd like to give you a break every hour. So every 50 minutes, there's a break, right? So we started at 1:30, there'll be a break at 2:20, there'll be a break at 3:20, we're out at 4:20. And the break will be 10 minutes, okay? So it's like 3 50-minute blocks. So knowing that, hopefully that'll help you. You can pay attention for just a little bit longer and then take a mental break, go out, get a drink, something like that. Anyway, but you're welcome to leave at any time. There's really no hassle with anything else. So, anyway. Also, you're welcome to bring your laptop, as many of you have, to class, to follow along, to take notes, to do whatever you'd like. It's great. Be on Facebook. It's fine too. If you're on Twitter, my hashtag that I like is WTFTemplin. Right? If you can tweet that would be awesome. You can find me on Twitter. It's here. If you want to, it's at JLTemplin. And the hashtag again. WTFTemplin. Actually, if you search that, you'll see a few people from other classes that have done that at the same time. So I try not to take myself too seriously, but that would be try part of that. So. Okay. All of our course materials are on Dropbox. So you will have to send me your email address if you haven't done already for Dropbox to have me share the folder with you. The folder is just a folder that has all the readings for the class in there. This is my way around fair use, copyright. So you don't have to buy each book. I'm just sharing a folder on my computer with you for educational purposes. I don't know if that's actually accurate, but you'll see that the readings are very diverse. They're from a lot of different textbooks and a lot of different places, and that's because I'm not happy with any one approach to SEM, and I think that's why everybody else wrote their book also. So maybe one day I'll have a book of my own that nobody will read, but with a couple chapters. Okay? But that's what happens. So send me your Dropbox account email address, and that will help. All right, moving on to page 3 of the syllabus. Oh, the fun part. Not really. How are you going to get a grade in this class? Bribery is not on the list. But I will tell you, and this is really tough because it's on the record. If you'd like to bribe me, it'll take the cost of my retirement. Okay? So when I get fired, I'll be independently wealthy. But It may be negotiable at some point. No, please don't. I won't even do it then. I enjoy my job too much, right? But here's how I'm going to grade you. You have 50% of your grades going to come from homework. We have a course project, and 25% of your grades going to come from that. Each week, we'll have a quiz. I know that sucks. It's in class, but it's my way to get you to read. I found this last semester in the DCM class. I actually saw people reading, which was good. I want you to read. I think these, even if at first the readings are somewhat confusing, I'll get to what my philosophy for the readings are. I'd like you to read them over, and the quiz will be either on the readings or on the lecture or something along those lines. It'll be 5 questions. Tear a piece of paper out, bring a pen, answer these 5 questions. It'll probably take 10 minutes or less. It'll be very short. Might even be like multiple choice for most of it. So, but anyway, it's only 15% of the grade, so it's not like freak out time, but that is enough. And then you also get 10 points, or 10% of your grade for in-class and online participation. That's me saying, please come to class. I'm not going to take attendance, but I'm going to know if you're not here. And participate in class. We'll have chances to talk. Ask questions if you have them. That's all. But that's also free. I mean, for the most part, you're guaranteed those points, 10% for the most part. You have to work really hard to not do that. Okay, homework is due. You'll have assignments you'll see up here on the website when they're due. So next week we have a quick little outline of the project, which I'll talk about in just a bit too. And then in 2 weeks, the first homework is due. You can download it, you can see it, you can find it. If you have homework questions, actually, if you click on that link on the website, you can even post anonymously questions about the homework at the bottom of the homework page right here. So if you do that, that might help everybody. If you have a question, I will reply. So, but that said, homework is due in a couple of weeks. My policy about homework, here's the thing. If you do your homework is going to be a little bit of a challenge, but you get a chance to redo it. Whatever you've done wrong, you get to revise it. Right? So I'm not here to penalize you. I just ask that you read and prepare for class and do stuff every week. But I'm not here to penalize you for it. I want you to try. I want you to submit something that shows that you tried. There's an underlined sentence in the syllabus that says 75% complete. That just says make sure you try on the homework, right? Before you submit it, because if you submit it on time, then whatever you didn't do right, you can do all over again the next time and get 100% credit for it so long as it's on time, right? If it's not on time, though, I'm going to penalize the homework 50% off the points, all right? And you can't make those up. And the reason for that is I'd like to give out solutions to homework. Those have to come out once you submit your revisions. I'd like to give you the essentially what I did, the answer key. And if there are ways of gaming the system, you can have an extension, But if one thing I will say, if you do need an extension for some reason, medical or whatever else, contact me as soon as possible. As soon as you know you need it, right? Sometimes it's the night before I get it, but most of the time it comes up, right? Cool. So we'll get to homework just a bit. Don't wait to the last minute to do your homework. Also, that's a big thing. It's going to be a lot harder. But with 2 weeks, hopefully you'll have 2 office hours. If you start it before the first office hours, you'll have 2 chances to come talk to me about it if you need help. Or maybe you don't need help and you can get it done quick also. Okay. So we also have a course project. The course project file is on the website as well. And it is right here. The project is essentially one of 2 different ways. There's one of 2 different ways to do the project, right? One is you have data and you analyze your data using techniques we did in this class, broadly construed. The other is if you don't, and actually, if you want to do the data analysis project but just don't have the data, I can help you get a data set. Right? I've actually sent an email out to all my colleagues in my department, and I have a few lined up who are willing to work with us. So if that's you, let me know as soon as possible, and we will coordinate. If you have your own data, that's great too. The second type of project, and this is probably for those students who are in my program, which is the REMS, or this is the Quant Methods program that we have, it's a quantitative project. right? Generally involves some type of simulation study or something along those lines. It can be almost anything you like. If you want to do that, it's harder at first because like, well, I'd like to do that, but I have no idea what the topic would be. Then contact me and I'll help you find a topic and set that up as well. Okay? What's due next week is a quick little outline. It's only worth 3 points, whatever that means. It's just a small little outline of what you want to do. And that's only to get you thinking about it right now. Because, as you know, the semester gets going and what happens? We run out of time. So, in the outline, if you don't have answers to these questions, email me right away. I'll help you get the data. And if we can't get a hold of the data or we have to submit a human subjects form to analyze the data, then this outline won't be due until later. So let's start thinking about it now. Make it work. Questions? That's the first one. It's due a week from now. The second version of the project is due in March, early March, and that's a little bit more comprehensive. It's essentially like an introduction and a method section. Like, what are you studying and why are you studying it and how are you going to use SEM or related techniques to answer your questions? That's basically it. All right. By the way, you're welcome to write as much as you want. I encourage you to write not a heck of a lot, but enough to get the point across. Right? This is not something that would be. Think of it as you would submit this as a paper somewhere, right? In each place that you would submit a paper to may have a page limit or something like that. Think of if you have a chance to do that. The third version of the project is due. The final draft is due the last day of the week of finals. But you're welcome to submit an earlier draft on the last day of class, where I will give you feedback and you can revise it. So you can take that just like you would with homework or revision. And that also applies to each of the project portions as well. Although I don't have them up there, but we'll get that. I'll put the deadlines for revisions up there as well. So the project is geared, so the homework is geared to kind of get you to understand how to use the syntax in R and Lavon and just the concepts of lecture. Whereas the project is kind of the bigger transfer. Okay, I've got these types of research questions. How do I go approach them and answer them with these methods? Questions? All right, 10 more minutes. Making it. Weekly quizzes will be in class. We'll have one next week, by the way. So all I ask is that you read. Here are the readings. You'll see these online, and you can grab those from the first book. I realized I had put this on the first required reading of Klein, Chapter 1, the introduction of an SEM text for this week. Didn't mean to scare you, too bad. But generally, there's one required reading a week, just one. And I tried to find the one that was the least technical of everything, so that you kind of get an introduction without having to deal with, I don't know what your background is in terms of statistics or everything else. If you're into statistics, a lot of these other books that you'll see on the right are a lot more technical. The book from Johnson and Wickern is a multivariate statistics text that's pretty good. They use in statistics departments. The Kaplan SEM book is also very technical, but I find it pretty good as well. So if you're somebody who is studying in my program and wants to learn a little bit more, you're welcome to get those. They're in the folder, but none of those we're going to have anything quizzes on or anything else. So it's just one a week, and most of these chapters are, 15 to 20 pages tops, but they're topical. They're about the topic that we're going to go to. And so here's the thought. You read the chapter during the week before class happens, so that when I start talking in class, it starts to make more sense. It's like your second pass through the material. And then moving forward from that, you are able to do the homework or move on a little bit more to the next topic. And so that's why the quiz happens kind of at the beginning of class, where we will have your quiz, and then that's on the material, pretty much the readings from the week before. That's the tough part, but Stephen, thank you for saying that the readings aren't terrible with this. So it gets worse, I take it. And actually, if you go look at my previous classes, I went a little over the top on some of these readings as well. So I tried to streamline. This may not seem streamlined to you, but this is trying to give you something each week. With the 1 day a week class, it's easy to kind of forget from time to time, and so I try to fill your week with enough stuff to do so you don't forget, so that you're with it the whole time. Okay. So far, so good. I don't want to scare you off, but I do want to know what you're getting into. I want you to know what you're getting into. But if you do choose to not be here, I understand as well. How to succeed in this class? Read your assigned papers. Read the assigned papers and chapters. That's the main thing. Even if it doesn't make sense, read them, because some of the words will get in, but the lecture will hopefully make sense of them a little bit more. The quizzes on the papers, on the chapters and stuff, by the way, I'm trying to not have any nuanced questions that, like on page 4, what was the third paragraph's fifth word, right? I want to have big picture ideas. What was the thing about? What do we use this for? And so forth. Come to class and bring your questions with you. Interrupt me if you have questions. It's not actually an interruption. Even though I do most of the talking, I like to think of this as more of a discussion if you'd like it to be. So please do not hesitate. I can guarantee you, if you're worried that your question, you don't want to sound ridiculous with your question, I can tell you, if you feel that, you're normal, and that probably half the other people in class are feeling the same way as you, and will probably be more appreciative of you asking it than not. So I would welcome those questions. I certainly will treat every question with respect, and I don't want you to feel at all ashamed for asking something that you don't know about. That's what you're here for, and that's what I'm here for. So I'd like to teach you. Please come to office hours. If you're welcome to come to office hours. You're also welcome to find me, make an appointment if you can't make office hours, or if you'd like a little bit more time without having perhaps other people there as well. And then homework you kind of have to do to get a grade, so that's good. So, we have a nice crowd next door. I didn't know there was a class over here, but I don't know this building well enough. So, there's the syllabus. How we doing? All right. Are you excited as I am? Yes, that's awesome. I have one other little note. So I'm prepped up to March because in my life there's a big deal happening somewhere in March. My wife is expecting, and the baby is due somewhere. Due on the 13th of March, which is perfect because spring break. If he just decides to come during spring break, that's awesome, right? Spring break. Overland Park Regional Medical Center. I can see, sorry. Anyway, I could go a long time with that. But no, that's what's going to potentially interrupt class as we go forward. The other thing I might be able to do, depending on what happens, as you know, these are somewhat unexpected events. I may not be able to make some classes. We may have to cancel some classes, or I may be able to give you lectures that are online that you can watch itself. So a lot of the grading and a lot of the things you see, the percentage, I don't know what the total number of points will be in each of the categories with the exception of the project for that reason. But that percentage, each part of the grade goes with that weight because of that. The way I have it planned out here is that we have 7 homeworks, and they're essentially due every other week. Each of those has a revision. You have a project, and then you have a quiz each week. So that's the plan for the total amount of work. It will not ever be more than that, but it may be less. Okay? All right. It sounds like they're having fun over there. If only. Only we could have fun like that. Well, that's up to me, right? Make SEM fun like all the other courses. Let's see. Did I get everything I need here? I'm going to also create an email group for the class that will have the doodle poll link to it. So if you do not receive an email, or if you're auditing the course and would like to be part of the group, send me your email. The email I'll send out will probably be by tomorrow afternoon. So if you don't receive an email, I'm using the emails that are on the enroll and pay system on KU, so it's your KU email address. But if you have a better one to use, let me know. I'll be happy to switch it out. So. All right. Let's take a break now. How does that sound? That sound good? You want to come back at around, maybe a little after 2:25? All right. Let's start there. Cool. Thanks.